Hey everyone, I'm Brendan Walsh, a software engineer on the SynapseML team, and welcome to the fourth installment of the SynapseML video series, where today we'll be focusing on OpenAI. The Azure OpenAI service gives us access to OpenAI's powerful completion models, and SynapseML gives us the ability to scale that capability up to an incredible proportion. Today, I'll show you some examples of how you can use SynapseML to access these completion services at scale, and I'll also show you how useful this can be given a little bit of clever prompt engineering. Let's go. We can start by creating a new Synapse notebook and attaching it to a Spark pool. Next, we'll provide a service name, a key from Key Vault, and deployment name, which here is the name of a GPT-3 model. DaVinci is our most advanced model. Next, we'll create a data set to feed into the client. We have a single column named prompt, and each row in this column will be the query that we want to be completed by GPT-3. Finally, we'll need to create our client. Create an OpenAI completion object, and using the building pattern, we can specify some parameters. In this case, we can specify either static parameters, like the subscription key, or we can specify the name of a column, which will contain setters for each row. Here we have a subscription key, we have the deployment name, we have a max tokens. A token is around 4 characters, and the combined prompt as well as the result will need to be capped within that limit. And finally, a prompt column, which will indicate to the client which column of the data frame we want to be interpreted as the query. Now that we have our client, we can call transform on the data frame. And we can see that GPT thinks that the best code is code that's tested rigorously. Can't disagree there. And it continued the prompt, "Hello, my name is with Richie, and I'm happy to be here." Richie sounds like a great guy. One potential limitation of this example is that each row of the data frame will result in an individual request to the GPT-3 service. In order to support higher throughput, you may want to consider using the batching feature. In this case, each row of the data frame will contain an array of queries, and each array will be sent as an individual request to the service. We'll create a new Spark data frame with a column called batch prompt, where each row is an array of strings. Next, we'll create a new OpenAI completion object, and the only difference this time is that we'll specify a batch prompt column. In this case, it will interpret this column as a column where each row is an array of strings rather than an individual string. Now, because we've specified that this is a batch column, each row will be sent as a request, and we'll be able to process multiple requests within a single transaction. In this case, we can see the array of prompts here, and in the completions, we can see that within the structure here, we can see a response for each of the queries. In order to make your life a little bit easier, we've provided a convenience function that will help you transform your column of data into a row that can be used for this batcher. So, for our original example, in the data frame named df here, we just had a single column where each row was one of the queries. We can use the fixed mini batch transformer here, and that will automatically transform it into the right format to use with the batcher, and we can rerun that initial example using this batch format. Now, instead of it sending a request for each of the queries, we have a single request with all of them batched. And now that you know how to use GPT-3 with SynapseML and run it at scale, let's look at a few examples of how you can use prompt engineering to get additional mileage out of the GPT-3 model. Because GPT-3 is a general purpose natural language model, you can provide examples and it will use that as context for its completion. In this case, we can use GPT-3 to create a simple language translation transformer by specifying some examples of translations of language. In the first example here, we specify a Japanese to English transformation, and then specify the Japanese and leave the English cut short. In this case, GPT-3 will do a continuation of the Japanese word. In the next row, we do the same thing with French to English. In this case, you can see that we've started off by asking what Midori Taco is, and the model has shown that it believes it is green octopus, which, as far as I'm aware, is correct. We've also asked what is the English translation of the French "Où est le poulet?", which the model has told us means "Where is the chicken?" Another example of a different application we can coerce GPT-3 into filling is general knowledge question answering. In this case, we create a Q&A format asking where is the Grand Canyon and providing a sample answer. And then we create a new question: what is the weight of the Eiffel Tower in tons? And the answer the GPT gives the weight of the Eiffel Tower in tons is 10,100 tons, which I believe is also correct. So now you've seen a couple examples of how you can use clever prompt engineering to get additional usage out of GPT-3 and create your own applications. And as a powerful generalized language completion model, the sky's the limit in terms of the applications you can think of. We're still in the early stages of seeing what kind of applications are created with this, so I encourage you to play with this and see what kind of new applications you can come up with yourself. Good luck and have a great day.